Good morning, students. Welcome back. I'm thrilled to have all of you on board. And today I'm going to take up India and I'm going to explain to you all the physical features of India because it is very important for you all to know the entire physiography of India before we start with the climatology. So let us begin. Now here you can see the map of India. Now India is one of the most important country in Asia and it is located entirely in the northern hemisphere and in the eastern hemisphere. It is found to the north of the Indian Ocean and it is found in southeastern part of Asia. It is here in the west we have the Arabian Peninsula or the Arabian Plateau, and to the east we have the Indochina Plateau, which we also call as the Shan and Yunnan Plateau. Now, India occupies about 2.42% of the land area of the earth. And this 2.42% of the land area comes to about 3.2 million square kilometers. So, it is pretty large, but still it is the 7th largest country in the world. So there are several other larger countries than India. Now if you look at the map of India, which I have already told you earlier, that it lies entirely in the northern hemisphere and it extends from 8.4 degree north to 37.6 degree north. And longitudinally, it extends from 68.7 degree east to 97.25 minutes east. So, the entire country is totally in the eastern and in the northern hemisphere. The 82.5 degree eastern longitude passes from Prayagraj over here, and it is the centrally located meridian which passes from Prayagraj, and it is at this 82.5 degree east longitude, the standard time is determined. So 82.5 degree east is the longitude, which is the standard meridian, and it is from here that the entire country determines its time. The country India has got a diverse physical features. There are several different types of physical features, from the high and lofty mountains in the north to the deserts in the west to the very fertile plains in the south of the mountains and the plateaus, which is in the southern part, the narrow coastal plains which extends right from Gujarat to West Bengal, and the island groups in Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. So we are going to take up each of these physical features, and that will help you to understand why all these physical features play a very important role in determining the climate of India. So let us begin from the north. Here we have the Pamir North. Now this Pamir North is the nodal point from where the mountains originate, or they radiate from here, which includes the Karakoram, the Himalayas in the east. Then we have the Hindu Kush, the Suleiman, and the Kirthar range in the west. Now these mountains, which are radiating from the northwest and extends to the northeast, covers nearly 2,400 kilometers, and they are of great importance. These lofty mountains, with an average height of about 6,000 to 8,000 meters, do not allow the dry, cold winds which are blowing from the north. So, India has a very pleasant, cool climate during the winters. Unlike most of the eastern part of Asia and the northern part of Asia, which reel under a lot of cold wave and where temperature can drop to nearly -15 to -20 degree centigrade. So because of the presence of these lofty mountains, all these areas of India has a very pleasant, cool climate during the winters. These mountains of the Himalayas, from here, we have the Lushai and the Mizo hills, which continue as Arakan Yoma in the south and the Rakhine or the Pegu Yomas in the southern part of Myanmar. These mountains over here, the hills of Garo, Khasi and the Jaintia, they all play a major role in determining the rainfall in the northeastern part, about which I will be explaining later. All these lofty mountains are having glaciated peaks. So because of the presence of these glaciated peaks, a large number of rivers originate from here, and this entire area, right from Punjab to Bengal, covering entire Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, parts of Jharkhand, we have the Gangetic Plain, or the rich alluvial plains, because this entire area has been filled by the silt which is brought down by the numerous rivers like Ganga along with its tributaries Yamuna, Gandak, Gomti, Kosi from the north, and over here we have the Satluj, Beas Chenab, Indus, all these rivers have made this entire area a very, very fertile plain. Because of availability of water, fertile soil, a very favorable climate, this entire area has got the highest population. So the Indo-Gangetic plain over here has a very important role to play in the lives of the people. Another very important river plain over here is that of the Brahmaputra. The Brahmaputra starts from Tibet, moves towards the east and turns towards Assam before entering Bangladesh and falling into the Bay of Bengal. So the Brahmaputra, along with its tributaries, also makes a very important fertile plain over here. So all these areas grow a large number of crops which help in not only feeding the millions of people over here, but also sending a lot of food grains to other parts of India. Apart from the lofty mountains, the Indo-Gangetic plain and the Brahmaputra plain, another very important feature of India includes the triangular shaped plateau, which is known as the Deccan Plateau. Now this Deccan Plateau was formed millions of years ago by the oozing out of lava very stealthily and covering this entire region with rich black soil. So this triangular shaped plateau is having the Satpura and the Vindhya ranges in the northwest. Here we have a smaller plateau which is known as the Chota Nagpur Plateau, and it is surrounded by the Sahyadris or the Western Ghats in the west and the Eastern Ghats in the east. Unlike that of the Western Ghats, which is a continuous hill which extends from Gujarat to Kerala, the Eastern Ghats are a stretch of broken hills. This Deccan Plateau is a highly dissected plateau because a large number of rivers like the Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi are moving or they originate from the western part and move towards the eastern part. So the mouths of the river have led to the breaking up of the Eastern Ghats. So there are several deltas which are found in between the Eastern Ghats. Due to this, the Eastern Ghats are not a continuous hill as that of the Western Ghats. In the north of the Deccan Plateau, we have two important rivers, the Narmada which flows through the Rift Valley of the Vindhyas and the Satpura range and the Tapi river. Unlike these rivers which are flowing towards the east, the Narmada and the Tapi moves towards the west and falls into the Arabian Sea. Apart from the Deccan Plateau and the different rivers over here, another very important feature over here is the presence of the Thar Desert. Now this Thar Desert has been formed due to the presence of the Aravalis. Now the Aravalis are hills which extends from parts of Delhi to Gujarat, and they are parallel to the boundary or of the Thar Desert. Now because of these Aravali hills, the monsoons are not able to bring much rainfall to this area. As a result, this area has become a desert. The coastal area, which extends from Gujarat to Kanyakumari in the south and further to the east till Sundarbans in West Bengal, is also a very important feature of India. Gujarat has got the longest coastal area due to its presence of having the seas very close by. The coastal area in the west is known as the Konkan coast. From Maharashtra to Goa, this area is known as the Konkan coast. For the south, here it is known as the Malabar coast. Now here, due to the presence of the Sahyadris almost parallel to the coastal area, this particular region has become very narrow. It is widest where we have the Konkan coast, about 65 kilometers, but further it becomes very narrow. Here in the east, the eastern coastal plain is broader compared to that of the western coastal plain, and this area is known as the Coromandel coast. So I will write over here, this area is known as the Coromandel coast. Besides all these physical features, India has got two groups of islands, one in the Bay of Bengal and another in the Arabian Sea. The Bay of Bengal islands, which are found over here, they are the Andaman and Nicobar group of islands. There are several big and small islands. One important feature over here is the presence of one volcanic island which is uninhabited, and that is the Barren Island. And it is an active volcano. That is the only volcano which we are having. These islands, that is the Lakshadweep Islands, they are coral islands. Coral islands are islands which have been constructed due to the secretion of calcium carbonate, which has been secreted by the coral polyps, and gradually they have formed these atolls and coral islands over here, which might have taken millions of years to be formed. Nevertheless, these areas are very beautiful and a lot of tourism can be done over here, and this can bring a lot of foreign exchange to India. Now, due to the presence of all these hills and mountains, India's climate has a major role to play because of all these factors. All these factors play a major role in determining the climate of India. Besides this, you all should know that India is having 8 union territories and 28 states. So, about this we can talk about later, but right now you have to remember the presence of these mountains, the hills over here, especially the Garo, Khasi and Jaintia hills, the presence of the Eastern Ghats, the Western Ghats and the Aravalis. They all play a major role in determining the climate of Asia. So students, this was a brief introduction about India so that your work and the learning part about climatology can be made easier when you are aware about the physical features of India. I hope I have made myself very clear regarding the different physical features of India, and I hope all of you will be enjoying our journey just as we have enjoyed last year and learn many more things as we carry on with our journey in geography. So that is what we have enough time for today. Thank you.